All right, I think it's time to get started.
Okay, great. Welcome everybody to the debut of our new program. We are the Association of Young Scientists or Innovators, or AYSI. And for this year's school program, we're launching a new, what's called Science Fair Academy. If you have been with us in the past, or if you're new, AYSI is an organization centered around STEM. And today we have some kind of introductions to our new program, as well as how you can register and apply for the different tiers that we're going to talk about. So AYSI is a nonprofit organization, and our main goal is to promote STEM values. Most of you know what STEM values are: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And how we're doing that is we are running different programs that are surrounded around teaching, mentoring, and kind of guiding students through different STEM competitions or ideas. In the past, about a year ago, we started our first science fair program, and we had a really successful program where we guided a few students with mentorship through different competitions and propelled them to new levels of competitions, whether it be state or international. And then this summer, we ran a program called the AYSI Summer Coding Institute. And what we did in that is teach different students how to code and use artificial intelligence and techniques like that to create really amazing projects. So throughout our different programs, our team's goal is to promote kind of personalized curriculum and mentorship and guidance through different types of STEM competitions. Our main goal is with Science Fair, and that's what we're going to talk about this meeting, is how we want to use this year's platform, this year's program, as a way to promote scientific research and push whoever joins our students to the next level of competitions, research, and everything that it brings with it. To do that, we have our team. So I guess I'll just introduce myself. My name is Alay. I'm a rising senior at Plano West, and I've been doing research for about 7 years. John?
Yeah, hi, I'm John. I've been doing science fair for a good chunk of the last decade also, and I'm also a rising senior at Plano West.
Hey, I'm Rachel. I'm a rising junior at Plano West, and I've been doing science fair since 7th grade.
Charles is not with us today, so we're going to move on to Noah.
Hi, everybody. My name is Noah. I've been competing in science fairs since 5th grade, and I'm a rising senior at Plano West.
Hi, everybody. I'm Govardhan, but you can call me Go. I've been competing in science fair for the past 12 years, and I'm also a rising senior at Plano West.
Hello, I'm Aditya Rai. I'm a rising junior at Plano West, and I've been doing science fair since the 8th grade.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ritvik. I'm a rising junior at Plano West, and I've been doing science fair since 7th grade.
So our officer team's goal is kind of to bring forth the best kind of curriculum towards our students. All of us have had a lot of experience in science fair, but over the past 2 years, we've also had a lot of experience with teaching, creating curriculum, teaching curriculum, guiding and mentoring students through the process of science fair. So our team together has kind of created a few different programs that we're going to talk about today on how we can guide new students, intermediate level students, or even advanced students to propel their research to new heights. A lot of you know what science fair is, but I'm going to talk a little bit of kind of where it can take you, as well as the different competitions. So science fair is an opportunity for high school and junior level students from 6th grade, 5th grade on to 12th grade to conduct research, scientific research in those values of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and present it at regional, state, national, and international levels. So kind of what science fair is a really great program that combines values of creation, innovation, presentation, and overall teamwork together. And by combining those, you're creating and conducting your own research as normal scientists would do, except you're a high school student and you're presenting it to judges and different kind of competitors. You're competing against different science fair students in order to gain things like prizes or awards. There's a lot of different competitions ranging from the school level. Each school usually has their own individual science fair. If it doesn't, we'll talk about that later. There's also regional science fairs and state level science fairs, all the way up to really advanced international and national level competitions. Most of our officer team, as well as our extended mentorship team, which again, we'll talk about later, has been to these kind of higher level or qualified for these higher level competitions. And so we've had firsthand experience of what it's like to compete at them, as well as how to get an award at one of them, how to succeed at these competitions. Science Fair is a really, really rewarding program. Like most of our officer team, I've done it for around 6 or 7 years. We've done it for a long time. And throughout it, there's a lot of different benefits that you can get from it. The first and most obvious one is awards from these competitions. The main ones are ISEF, STS, JSHS, state science fairs, and the Google Science Fair. And these are all really big competitions, but you don't have to be daunted by them because every project starts at a kind of an elementary level. Awards can range from really good kind of like monetary value awards all the way to like internships and stuff like travel awards. The awards that you get from Science Fair are really amazing, and it's a really good motivating factor for joining it. Another thing is conferences and different publishing. So after you've done real research, which our goal for our program is to teach you how to conduct real research, you'll be able to kind of apply to different conferences and presentations, things that normal PhD or med students or kind of like graduate level students do. High school level students have been able to do because they conduct real research and apply themselves in really specific areas. And we're going to teach you how to do that with the help of our amazing mentorship team. With that, you can even publish your research. And with that, your research kind of goes out to the world and it looks really good, as well as people can start to cite your research like we do with kind of like PhD level professors and stuff like that. Another really good and one of the main ones benefits of Science Fair is it looks really good as an extracurricular activity. So our mentorship team, which we'll talk about later, has gotten into some really good colleges, and some of their main activities have been scientific research. By propelling themselves to these high-level competitions, by building an interest around their projects, and by kind of publishing and going to conferences, they've been able to get admission to these really high-level programs at colleges like Stanford or MIT. And by conducting research, you're able to kind of simulate what it's going to be like in college, because most of these colleges are considered research universities, and in any STEM field you'll be doing a lot of research. So by getting a head start, you're improving your chances of getting in and improving your chances of doing better at them. Last but not least, you have kind of like networking and internships. A lot of students at these big competitions get to meet really cool people that lead on to good connections and internships. And with that, you can get jobs, you can get really cool opportunities to work with people that you wouldn't have if you didn't meet them at these kind of big competitions and you didn't do scientific research. So these kind of big benefits are definitely worth it given the amount of time you'll be putting in. And Science Fair is a time commitment, but we'll teach you how to balance that time commitment and maximize the chances you have of getting these kind of benefits.
Yeah, so I'll talk about these program principles that kind of build up the fundamentals of what the Science Fair Academy will bring to you guys this year. So first of all, with the latter two tiers, we have the Science Fair tier and we also have the Research Program tier. And those offer different levels of mentorship and experience with our mentors. So with both of those tiers, our goal is to match you with the best of the best. You know, some of these students have gone on to win thousands, close to actually hundreds of thousands of dollars in Science Fair awards over their high school careers. And if you sign up for the research program in particular, you'll be matched with a lot of undergraduates and get access to professors who will also help you get published and do well at international level science fairs like AYSI and Regeneron STS. We'll also have guest speakers come in, both from the undergraduate and the graduate level, such as professors or PhDs who will run you through the research process in addition to giving you some inside tips into just science in general. And we'll also be here. We're gonna talk about like our community on Discord, which is similar to our Summer Coding Institute, where we can have like questions answered about your project. And of course, during your one-on-one mentorship sessions, you'll also be able to get your questions figured out. And we'll also really make sure to, especially through Zoom nowadays, really prioritize the community aspect through really constant communication. Yeah. So Govardhan, do you want to talk about the 3-part mentorship? I think you might be muted, Govardhan.
Yeah. Okay. So basically our mentorship program starts at the fundamentals. So the first thing you need to do is find yourself an idea, a subject that you're interested in, and our AYSI mentors will help you find a project that might be suitable for your interests, and you'll collaborate with your mentor through this entire process to gain an idea. The next thing that the AYSI mentor will help you do is create a timeline for how you want to develop your project. So that's like experimentation. Do you need to use human subjects? What kind of things would you need for your project to be executed successfully? And then the last component is presentation, which is very important. We'll have mock fairs. Our mentors will coach you through how to present your project, and eventually you'll feel confident and ready to tackle a science fair presentation by yourself.
Right, and the idea here is that we're guiding you through the entire process of a science fair project. So we're not just helping you with the presentation, we're not teaching you specifically how to do some kind of coding task. We're telling you and giving you tips based on our experience and our mentors' experience through really big competitions, conferences and stuff like that, how to go from start to finish on a research project and then present it at a bunch of different levels of competitions. And we've used this 3-part mentorship kind of strategy throughout our different programs, our science fair, our original science fair program, and our coding institute. And the results we've yielded have been quite phenomenal. We've had students who've gone to national level competitions, and we've also had students who've created really amazing projects just from our instruction throughout our lecture program. And we're going to be talking about kind of the curriculum we're going over in a little bit. But first, Go's going to talk about our timeline.
Okay. Could you go to the next slide, Alay? Okay, perfect. So as you may know, our registration for the multiple programs that we offer opens today, and it will close on September 14th. So for the lecture program, as long as you just register between those 2 dates, you're good. For the research and the science fair program, if you register before September 14th, we'll have a 2-week window where we will pair you with a mentor who specializes in your field. So if you're in the science fair program, you'll be paired with a high school mentor, one of an affiliated AYSI member, or if you join the research program, you'll be affiliated with a college undergraduate who is pursuing studies in your given research topic. So next we have October, which is where you'll develop your idea. If you're in the research program, we ask that you come to the first mentorship session with an idea of where you want to go with your project. That could be like a specific category, a specific subject. We just ask that you have some indication of what you would like to pursue. For the science fair program, our AYSI mentor will help you find a project that's suitable for you. So November, we get to development. So this is where we start building up your project. So we work with you to determine how you're going to conduct the procedure. Are there any external things that you would need, like human subject consent, which I don't know if will be very likely this year because of the current situation. But anything that we need to kind of get your project to lift off. December is when we start, we're going to help you develop your presentation. So that could be either a board or whatever kind of format the competition requires. And then in January, we're going to help you prepare your presentation. So that's how we're going to coach you through how to present your project, what things to accentuate in your presentation, and really just wow the judges with your scientific knowledge and innovation. So I think that covers the project timeline. LA, if you wanted to add anything.
No, that's about it. It's important to note that this is kind of an all-year program, unless you do the lecture program. Our lectures will occur from October to around January. We'll take a short break for kind of like winter break area, but our lecture program will go throughout those 4 months. And in our lecture program, we'll do seminars, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. But then afterwards, our higher level programs, which is our science fair program tier and our research program tier, will continue on throughout the year to mentor and personally mentor students who need help with publications or research or competitions, specific competition. And we'll talk about all the different benefits that come with our higher tiers in a little bit.
So this is a parent of a student who's currently in Rice Middle School, yeah, and he's just entering 6th grade. My name is Mayur. His name is Dev. So, just wanted your thoughts as to how any of your programs, and this is the first time I'm watching this presentation. So, whenever you feel it's the right time to talk about it, perhaps now or later, I just want to know what would be the right program for him and what are the benefits. Maybe you can answer now or you can answer later. That's up to you.
Yeah, so we're about to go into all of our different programs.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll try to like talk about which student might be best for each program also.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, so this slide just goes over some important dates that you should be aware of. So today, obviously, is August 23rd, so registration opens today and will continue through September 14th. So this is the registration for all 3 of our programs, the lecture program, the science fair program, and the research program. From September 14th to October 4th, if you're in the latter 2 programs, this is when we'll take the information that you fill out from your registration form and match you with a mentor. So if you're in the science fair program, you'll be matched with a high school mentor. And if you're in the research program, you'll be matched with a college mentor. And essentially, we'll find a way to bridge your interests with the experience that your mentor has so that we can create like a harmonious relationship between the 2. And then our official program kickoff date is October 5th. So just letting you know, for the research program, we ask that you have a general idea of what you would like to pursue by that date.
So we are kind of creating not only are we creating like a curriculum for our students, but we're creating a kind of an atmosphere or an environment where students can collaborate together and communicate together. So we're using 2 different things to do that. First is Discord. Discord is we're going to have all of our communication. We'll have channels for each program tier, introduction channels, general channels, where students of all different programs can kind of converse with each other. It'll be our forum page where students can ask officers specific questions or specifically email mentors. And then also for our science fair program, right after a meeting, we're going to have our mentorship sessions over Discord voice channel. For our higher level program, the research tier, we're going to be doing our mentorship on Zoom, and that's going to be coordinated with our mentor, but we'll talk about how we're organizing everything. But also all of our lectures are going to be done live on Zoom. And it will be done within a reasonable time period, usually in the afternoon so that it can accommodate everyone. But our live lectures are also recorded and uploaded to what's called Simply Book, which John will talk about, so that students who've missed the lecture can also rewatch it or watch it for the first time. So together, these kind of 3 things are going to be able to help us create an environment in which our students are easily able to access lecture material, converse with other students, ask questions to our mentors, schedule mentor sessions, things like that. But John will kind of go in more detail about this.
Yeah, absolutely. So Simply Book is going to be where we handle all of the scheduling in addition to the actual membership. So what Simply Book allows you to do is it'll give you like a calendar of dates where your mentor, whom you'll be assigned to, will have like these specific times that are available, and you can just pick from there. You'll also be able to actually pay for the program from there through the specific mentorship tiers. That's the lecture only program, the science fair only program, and then we also have the research program. And you'll also be able to, like Alay said, view all the past lectures as recordings. And you'll also be able to schedule any additional time with mentors if you feel like that's necessary for you. And as a final benefit, the SimplyBook platform also lets you get automatic reminders for the meetings. So just in case your child or you might forget. And it also will just provide all the meeting links automatically for you to join at the specific time.
Yeah,
so yeah.
Kind of with SimplyBook, Discord, and Zoom all together, we're gonna have a really cohesive system that we're using that students will be able to easily do a lot of different things that our program provides.
Right, and just extending, I just wanted to mention one thing, especially this year with this unprecedented circumstance, and since we're having a virtual program, we really want everybody, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We're here for you. And we want to make sure that despite staying at home and having a virtual environment, we're able to have a productive year.
So our first program, and we have 3 programs that we're going to go over today, or 3 program tiers, is the lecture program. The lecture program covers everything about, it offers students the ability to watch our live seminars, but it doesn't give them our mentorship or our personalized mentorship to help a specific student throughout a competition. And Aditya is going to talk about kind of the different topics that we're going to go over in our lecture topic. These are all different parts of our curriculum that we're going to be teaching our students and that will be really useful to them, whatever competition or research opportunity they go into. So Aditya?
Thank you, Alay. So the first lecture that we're going to have is going to occur in October. It's just going to be an introduction to our program, an introduction to what science fair is, and an introduction to the scientific method, just to sort of get your feet wet in the pool of science fair. Our second lecture is also going to happen in October, and that's where we're going to be discussing actually selecting your topic. So figuring out exactly what you're going to be doing for your project. And here we're going to be talking about what kinds of research you can go into, how exactly you choose an idea, showing some example projects, and telling you guys how to find reliable sources to do some background research on your ideas. Our third lecture is going to be a research plan lecture, where we're essentially going to talk about all the parts of a research plan, which is sort of this cumulative plan for your project. It includes figuring out exactly what your research question is, making your hypothesis or engineering goals, developing the procedure that you're going to have, and any other safety forms and such that you might have to fill out for your project. Then beginning November, we're going to start talking about actually experimenting. So, doing some preliminary testing, developing a proof of concept for your idea, recording your data, actually performing your experimentation, all of that is going to happen in our experimentation lecture. So our fifth lecture is also going to happen in November, and that's where we're going to start getting into actually analyzing your results. So now that you have all this data, how do you draw conclusions from it? How do you analyze that data? What sort of statistical analysis do you have to do on that? What error analysis you have to do? All that's going to happen in our analyzing results lecture. Then also in November, we're going to have a final report lecture, which is essentially where we're going to be talking about, okay, so now you've done your experimentation and you've recorded all your data and analyzed all your data. So how do you go from all of this into having a properly typed out abstract of your project, into having a review of literature for any background research in your project, into organizing your logbooks and bibliographies, and basically making a final report of your entire project. Then our seventh lecture is going to start off in December, where we're going to be talking about displaying your project. So what kinds of displays are out there, PowerPoint slides, a board, really anything. And then we're going to be advising you guys on how you can create convincing displays to really wow your judges. And we'll be showing you some examples of really successful displays from the past. Then our eighth lecture is going to be our presentation lecture, which is where we're going to talk about, so now you have your display and you've completed this amazing piece of research. How do you go from having this and actually having a speech that you can present to a judge to, again, really wow that judge? So we're going to be talking about the various different types of speeches, when to use each type of speech, and really how to write them. And then our final lecture is going to be the interview lecture, which is where we're going to be talking about how do you go from having a presentation to actually being able to handle a judge's questions, what kind of typical interview questions are out there and how to answer them, and how to handle more difficult questions so you can really wow your judge with your knowledge of your topic.
Thanks, Aditya. And it's important to note that these kind of 9 lectures are a very rough idea of what our curriculum is going to be about. These are our main 9 topics. We might have more lectures, we probably will. And especially for the science fair tier, which is what we're going to talk about next, and the research tier, there's going to be some kind of more advanced exclusive lectures that go over specific things. And as our science fair kind of season progresses and we're introduced with new challenges, maybe it's a virtual science fair, or maybe it's a different kind of format, we're going to be introducing lectures to help our students deal with that. A lot of us have had to deal with virtual science fairs just from last year. So we have had experience in our in-person science fairs, our virtual science fairs, our kind of like video format, a lot of different formats of presentations. And we're going to be kind of adapting to changes as they come. But this curriculum is a very basic overview of what we're doing.
Right, and just to add on to who might be the best type of student to actually take advantage of the lecture program, this is if you think that you already have a solid grasp of what your project is going to be, but you want some inside info and tips on how to make your project a lot better. But at the same time, you don't feel like you need to go that extra step to get a one-on-one mentorship.
This
platform.
tier, the price was over here. This tier costs $75, but it's a very entry-level tier. It's mainly for students who are just getting into science fair, but don't want mentorship. And mentorship is a really valuable thing. So the next 2 tiers are going to excel at providing mentorship and personalized mentorship and stuff like that. And we're going to talk about those tiers. And before I hand it off to Rachel and Noah, one thing I want to mention is each program tier builds off of the previous one. So the Science Fair Mentorship Program and the Research Program still get all the same lectures that the Lecture Program does with more lectures. And then the Research Program will build upon the Science Fair Program as well. So as each program goes on, it has all of the features of the previous one. Everyone will have access to the lectures, except as the exclusivity of the program kind of increases, so will you'll add new kind of features and new really helpful tools that we're providing to our students. So Rachel and Noah will kind of talk about these 2 programs.
Okay, so these are our 2 mentorship programs. And as Olay mentioned, it's the Science Fair Mentorship Program, which one of them is the Science Fair Mentorship Program, which builds upon the lectures. And then there's the Research Program, which Noah will talk about, that builds on both the Science Fair Mentorship Program as well as the lecture series. So regarding Science Fair Mentorship Program, you're going to be mentored rotationally with different high school students who have been nationally recognized. And these sessions will be about 25 minutes. And you'll also get your projects reviewed by one of us, so one of the nationally recognized students. And we're also going to offer mock fairs at the end of our mentorship program.
Right, and the tier that goes above both the lecture program and the Science Fair Mentorship Program is the Research Program. And this is the Science Fair Academy's premier tier. We're offering mentorship with undergraduates and professors that have a prolific amount of research in their fields. They're attending pretty prestigious universities as well. And they will give you very in-depth understanding of your project and will help you delve into things like internships or perhaps fine-tuning your data and getting it ready and prepping it for publications, which obviously these undergraduates and professors have a lot of experience in. So in the research program, you will get one-on-one mentorship with these internationally acclaimed undergraduates and professors. And then you will also receive per month 2 one-hour sessions with them, and those will be held over Zoom, which you will schedule through simplybook.me. And like I mentioned, you will get very exclusive content about how to undergo publications, different conferences you could present your research at, and internships. And I want to add the question that was asked at the beginning about what should I sign my student up for? If you generally have an idea of what you want to do, and you feel confident about your idea and you want to take it to the next level, then I would definitely consider signing up for the Science Fair program, or if you're feeling really confident, the Research Program. And before we start expounding on the specifics, I do want to note the difference in the duration of the meetings you will have between these 2 programs on the screen. So for the Science Fair program, you will receive 2 25-minute sessions that occur after each lecture. With the Research Program, you're receiving an hour-long session, and that can be personalized to a time that fits your schedule best.
And just adding on, The Science for Mentorship program is probably best if you're in middle school or maybe early high school and you're looking to take your research to that next step, preferably at the state level or higher. But if you're probably in around 10th, 11th, 12th grade, we really recommend you join the research program to get the improved mentorship in addition to getting those additional resources that are really important for science fair and conferences.
Yeah, like John said, our research program is basically our premier program. We have, and we'll introduce them, a really amazing mentorship team that we've kind of recruited that have been to a really wide variety of competitions in the past. And also in the next few slides, we're just going to kind of go over, I know this was a very brief overview of the two programs, but we're going to be a little bit more specific about how each one of them works. So
Right.
first off is the Science Fair Mentorship Program.
Okay, so now we're going to go a little deeper, like Alay said, into the different mentorship programs. So the first that we're going to talk about is the Science Fair program tier. So like I mentioned earlier, it includes everything from the lecture program and exclusive Science Fair content. So when I say Science Fair content, I mean you're going to have one-on-one mentorship, and this is with those nationally recognized high school winners, as well as these sessions, like Noah said, is going to be 25 minutes, and there's going to be two right after. There's going to be one after each lecture, and this will be two 25-minute sessions. Then you're also going to have the mock fairs, which just allows you to be more prepared for these different competitions, or whatever it might be, like regional or even state, to get you prepared for each of those. So it's very beneficial to be able to present to one of us, or to be able to present to one of these students who's been to one of these national fairs. And we're also going to be giving out awards along with these mock fairs.
And an important thing to note is, like Rachel said, but I kind of want to reiterate, is that the Science Fair program tier builds off of the lecture tier. So you'll have all of that lecture content that me and Aditya talked about in the previous two slides, but you also get access to more exclusive lectures, as well as that rotational mentorship and mock fairs. The mock fairs are a really great way to replicate the science fair process, as well as kind of compete for prizes. In every one of our programs, we've had our own little competition, like running our own little science fair, and it's really beneficial for getting students ready for the actual competition, or at least getting their hands wet with trying to present. So we're gonna be trying a few different things. But next up is our premier.
One other thing to note about the science fair program is that it's going to be 150, and compared to the lecture program, which is 75.
Yeah. So the increased price with the increased amount of lectures, as well as the mentorship and mock fairs, is it's a really great deal. And it's also a good thing to note, important to note, is that we are a nonprofit organization. So nothing we're doing here goes to any kind of profit. All of the costs are to run the program itself and promote the STEM research with all of our different kind of ideas that we have for promoting research. And then we're also using some of it to help with financial aid for students and kind of grants for students, but we'll talk about that later.
All right, so here we have the research program tier, and I'm going to be explicating it a little more specifically. So the cost, I'll just say it now, the cost for this program is $475. While this may seem like a lot, this program tier is chock full of valuable information, and you will surely benefit from it because we're providing you with a lot of exposure to people that are accredited in their fields. And so what's included in the research program tier is, like Alay and Rachel mentioned, everything that came before it. So you will get all of the features of the lecture program, which includes the Zoom informational meetings and the community Discord to ask questions. And you will also, more specifically to the research program tier, receive advice from a university student or professor who's actually majoring or performing research in your field. So let's say, for example, that you're interested in biochemistry, for example. We will match you with a student in college who is doing research in biochemistry or biotechnology or something that intersects with what you're good at. And they can provide some pretty valuable information because their area of expertise aligns with what you're interested in. In addition to that, we also offer two very special components in this tier: research review and an AYSI accelerator program. And so in research review, we will be taking a look, or rather, we and the undergraduates will be taking a look at your research and kind of evaluate it and give you some constructive criticism on if your research is ready for the fair. We can give you a lot of advice as judges would in a normal science fair, and that can offer you a lot of crucial information on how you can improve your project and also enhance your delivery of said project. And with the accelerator program, we're actually offering, this is a new idea. You can enter and compete and receive a cash prize that can help you develop your research. So that's kind of what accelerator means. We will accelerate your research by providing you funding, a grant to propel your research in the direction you want it to be.
Right, and just to clarify, the research review will be, like this slide says, very comprehensive. We'll look through all of your presentation material, like your abstract, your board, or your Google Slides, whatever you end up using, and like go through it and make all the constructive criticism that you need to make sure that your presentation and your project itself gets the point across as effectively as possible.
And the research review will be conducted by our mentorship team as well as some volunteer professionals. These are professors, leaders in their industry who have agreed to kind of help out with looking over some of these materials. And like John said, that includes posters, presentations, papers, abstracts. And kind of the main difference and the benefits we see with the research program over the science fair program is you're getting first-class mentorship, really like one-on-one mentorship. You have the same mentor throughout the program, so that mentor knows you, it learns you, and that mentor is personalized, meaning that project that he did to get to a really big competition or competitions is most similar to the one you're doing now. And by doing that, it'll propel you further. There's a lot of different also exclusive content that's going to come with the research program. Each program you get more and more material, more and more lectures, more and more kind of features, but also building upon the previous one. So the research program will still have access to our mock fairs, as well as our Discord community and our original lectures. So overall, for $475, the research program tier is a really good program for getting students to their dream competitions. A lot of students really want to get to these high-level national and international competitions in order to meet new people or get awards or help out their extracurricular activities. And the research program tier is the best program to do that. If you're serious about science fair, if you're serious about research, or even if you're just trying to get into a new activity, but you want to do well at it, the research program tier is going to really help with that. And Noah's going to talk about or kind of introduce a few of the mentors we have, but it's a really amazing mentorship team.
Yeah, definitely, Ale. And you can see here just some of the examples of our lineup that we have for our undergraduates. And again, this is for the research program. So here, if you just look at some of these descriptions here, we have some very qualified undergraduates that you, as a middle schooler or a high schooler, will be talking to in a Zoom meeting. One of our most revered of which is Krithik Ramesh. He was the Gordon E. Moore winner at ISEF last year, and he won $75,000 for his project in, I believe, biomedical engineering. And so he is, has done a lot in science fair. And ISEF is one of those science fairs that is very respected in the STEM community. And as of now, just to give you some numbers, we have 30 science fair mentors who will be helping students in the science fair program. And we have 50 undergraduate mentors, some of which are included on this slide, that will be giving you the research program personalized sessions. So yeah, just to reiterate, we have a lot of qualified people here that are willing to give you a lot of useful information about how your projects can be developed and different avenues that you can pursue to win these very prestigious awards as they did.
Yeah, and another thing to note is, like Noah said, a lot of these, and you can see a lot of these, almost all of these, I think all of these, have been ISEF qualified mentors. And ISEF is one of the biggest competitions that a student in science fair can wish to go to. But they've also qualified for some smaller or less known national competitions, like Junior Science and Humanities Symposium, published research, the Science Talent Search, which is a really, really prestigious competition. So by having this really wide depth of a really wide variety of different kind of competition formats they've been through and experienced, we have a really good team for understanding and catering to whatever students need, whether they're in the research program or the science fair program. But it's important to note that these mentors are only available to people who apply for the research program. The science fair mentorship program are mentors like me, John, Noah, Go, Rachel, Aditya, who've been through state level and national level competitions, but we're still students ourselves. We're working on our projects. These are really amazing mentors that we've even looked up to that are available to you now through personalized mentorship. So what we mean by personalized is Kritik Ramesh, which Noah talked about, did a project in biomedical engineering. If you have a project similar to his, you might be matched up with him. And then because your projects are so similar, he can help you with the same tips, advice, ideas that helped him win one of the biggest competitions. So that kind of personalization really makes this research program a good program for students who want to get propelled to the highest level. And we're going to talk. Go ahead.
I want to add something. I see a question here that says, we will eventually get to a Q&A session at the end of the meeting, but I see one that says, can you share more about college professor mentors too? Yeah, so we actually have about 7 professionals right now that are willing to help with the research program. So they will definitely provide assistance as a mentor, but more than that, their specialty will come in the form of research review and also helping with publications. So we'll get more into that later.
Yeah.
I also want to mention, yeah, go on.
Oh no, you said you wanted to mention something? Go ahead, no.
Yeah, so another thing that is in common between all of these research program mentors is that they're going to be attending some pretty prestigious universities this coming year, many of which include MIT, Stanford, Harvard. These schools are acclaimed in research, and the majors that they're majoring in are also very revered at these institutions. So not only are you going to be getting experience from people that are successful in science fair, but also just successful in education and academia. And so they are obviously well equipped with information that they can impart to you if you sign up for this program.
Yeah, right. And just as an anecdote, like say you need some CS help with your AI application, you can ask Mr. Kevin Meng here all about that, and he can run you through the whole spiel. And it's just really nice to be able to have someone by your side, like you can ask questions when you're working on a project, whether that's a technical question or just a question about how to present your project in general.
So there's also another question that I think is just aligned with this, so I'll talk about it. It says, for the research program, who identifies the research project? So you guys will kind of apply with an idea or a brief idea of what you'll do. And then during our mentor matching process, I'm actually going to shift over to that slide. Noah will talk about this mainly, but you're going to be matched to a mentor based on your idea, based on your preferences, based on their preferences, kind of a holistic review for everything. And then you're going to get the best possible mentor, primary mentor that you're going to be working with, as well as alternative mentors, just in case you want a second opinion on something. That's a really good idea for things. But the professors that Noah were talking about are going to be helping with research review. They're going to be helping with guest lectures, even really special mentorship sessions that you can schedule for things like publications and conferences and more advanced stuff like that. Or like maybe if you have a method that's really similar to a professor of ours, you can kind of talk to them about that. But Noah's going to talk about a little bit about our mentor matching.
Yeah, sure. So on the screen here, we have a flow chart that provides a pretty general outline of how we're going to be matching you with the mentor. And so just at the upfront, I'd like to say that there is a form that you will eventually fill out that asks for your information, what your research strengths or things that pique your interest, any other credentials or accolades that we should be aware of. And using that information, we will then match you to a high-level mentor that is equipped with the knowledge that aligns with what you're doing. So another anecdote would be, let's say you are interested in animal sciences. There is a mentor that we have that did projects in animal sciences. And so they will provide you with that specialized, as we keep saying, specialized mentorship. And so you will be assigned at least 2 mentors, sometimes 3. The third mentor comes as an alternate in case the first or second mentor can't make the meeting. But just expect yourself to be paired with the primary mentor, which is the mentor that is best fit for you. And this mentor will walk you through idea refinement. So you'll give them an idea and they'll say, this is a great idea, or there are some things that you could work on this, or I have some suggestions for you, or here's some software or resources that you can use to your advantage to develop your project. And so they're really going to be giving you that locomotion to progress your projects through the science fair year. That includes development and the eventual creation of a presentation board, an elevator speech, helping you on your paper, and even securing a publication in a high-level journal. And so they will be walking you through that process. And just to reiterate, that will happen 2 times a month in a 1-hour session.
Right, and I'll just add on to what Noah said here. So what the mentors will be doing is they'll actually review all your applications. So if you check out our website, we'll be posting a form where you can sign up for the program tier that you want. And if you pick the research tier, one of the questions will be, who do you want your mentor to be? We have a full list of undergraduate mentors on our website you can check out. And say you want to work with Krithik Ramesh, or you want to work with Daniel Kang or Andy Spiretti, you can pick that mentor and just list their names on the form based on their specialty and your project idea. And just as a note, some of our mentors will also be contacting you guys for interviews based on their request, or you can also request them as well. And the interview will just get the mentors the ability to get to know you guys better before making their final decisions on who to pair with. So yeah, like Noah said, the main mentor is going to be that primary mentor who's going to be assigned to your project, and we'll have like a second and third mentor as a backup in case there are schedule conflicts. Yeah.
So I'll kind of lightly touch on this. One of the things in science fair is the main science fair track, as we like to call it, is a normal board presentation fair, and you work at you go from your school level to your regional level to your state level to your ISEF level competitions. But there are a lot of different competitions. Some of them are TJAS, the Texas Junior Academy of Science, the Texas Junior Science and Humanities Symposium. What is it called? The Junior Science and Humanities Symposium is the national level for TJSHS. And I say Texas, but if you're out of state, there's one of these for every state, or almost every state, and like California has 3 of these. So we'll put up some materials as you can see what kind of competitions are in your area. But there's a lot of competitions other than the main science fair track. Special competitions, paper competitions, video competitions, scholarships, awards, internship kind of application from your research. And we're going to be talking to you about like kind of special lectures about these things with some of the programs, because a lot of us have dealt with these. I think almost everyone here has been to one of these competitions, at least one, and we've experienced it or won some kind of award, and we know how to deal with every different type of presentation and every different type of competition. So because of that, we can kind of give you guys some information or advice on how to compete and how to adapt your project to different competitions, as well as how to maximize your results by competing in a bunch of different competitions. If you just competed in the science fair track and you lost at, say, state, which we hope you don't because we have a really great program to kind of push you all the way, then there are a lot of different competitions that you can go to national level with. So our goal is to help you maximize your opportunities here. So Ritvik is now going to talk about kind of like a little bit of logistics around science fair, what you can do if your school doesn't specifically have a science fair program. So why don't you go ahead, Ritvik?
Yeah, thanks, Ole. So I guess most of the people here will have an idea on their school's kind of science fair program and how they can participate in these various science fair competitions. But for certain students, maybe potentially students that are not in Texas or maybe more rural areas or maybe even internationally, sometimes their schools don't sponsor science fair, but they still want to get involved with science fair competitions because they're passionate about research or whatever it is. And the first step, and we have these steps kind of listed here. The first step is to ask to make sure. A lot of times, you might think that you can't participate in science fairs, but you're not the first person who is asked in your school district. So there are probably some sort of program where you can participate in anyways, even though you might not expect it. A second possibility is to find a teacher sponsor. So in a lot of cases, if a teacher, maybe a research teacher, a science, biology, chemistry teacher, or something like that, somebody like that is willing to sponsor your project, then they can help you participate in these science fair competitions. This third step is to email potentially your regional science fair. So for those of us who live like in the Plano area, that's the Dallas Regional Science and Engineering Fair. And copy your teacher or principal or whoever you wish to contact, and they'll definitely accommodate you. Homeschooled students as well, they can still participate in these regional competitions. The fourth is to look for research opportunities outside of science fair. So as all the other mentors have mentioned, there's a lot of competitions beyond just your normal, district, regional, state science fairs. There are, again, scholarships, video competitions, a lot of opportunities that are available. And you can just do a quick Google search and you can find dozens of these competitions that, our program can help you participate in either way. There's also state oral competitions, so a statewide competitions where you can give presentations. And then finally, you can contact local labs and see if you can get a publication out for your research, all of which doesn't require your school to actually sponsor a science fair competition.
Yeah, and go ahead, John.
Yeah, so just to list more examples of online competitions you can enter, there's like the Conrad Challenge, Sigma Xi is hosting its own virtual pitch competition. There are just a lot of smaller opportunities you can take advantage of in addition to the main science fair track.
Yeah, and we'll have kind of resources in our program. When our program starts, we'll have resources as to what different competitions you can apply to. One thing to mention is we say Dallas Regional Science and Engineering Fair. Our team is based out of Dallas, but we're taking this competition nationally. And there are regional science fairs. There are about 4,000 or something regional science fairs across the United States. There's a lot of different science fairs. And there's a lot of different competitions that you can apply to wherever you are in the United States or even internationally, because you can still find your way to the International Science and Engineering Fair or different competitions from outside of the United States. So we say Dallas, but we mean that any local regional fair in this case, or any kind of fair that's based in your area. We take you through the ideation process of how to create a science fair project and how to present it, not specific to one competition, but specific to a lot. So Ritvik is also going to talk about our referral program.
Yeah, so again, the program, we strongly encourage you to participate in the Premier Research Program. That program includes everything. And we know for some students who that price might seem too high, there is a referral discount system. So again, like for other companies, how they would have a referral set up, if you help bring in another student, maybe another friend who's interested in this, you will get $20 off of your application fee or the total tuition fee for the program. Just make sure to mark that on the application form, and we'll just apply that discount and rebate on your tuition fee. So the more students that you bring in, the more your tuition price goes down, and more students that can participate in the program.
Yeah, and also if you qualify for free or reduced lunch at your school, we also have a pretty substantial financial aid program that we can help you guys out with.
Yeah, and the financial aid is anonymous, so you can just reach out if you'd like.
Yeah.
So thank you everybody for kind of like listening and bearing with us through all this program details. Just as a little short recap, 3 programs: lecture program, science fair program, research program. Our lecture program sits at $75, and it's good for really beginner students, elementary level. But for people who want actual mentorship and are still in junior division or really early kind of high school division, the science fair program is going to be great. Although you can, there's no age limit for any of these programs. For the best of the best, for high school students who really want to take it to international, national level competitions, for people who want to publish their research, they want to go to conferences, they want to get internships, they want to go make this science fair their main activity, our research program is going to be our best. And remember, with our referral discount, what is it called? You can basically have a free tuition, because you can refer as many students as possible. And when you refer someone and then they register, they'll say in the form, and we'll talk about this later, what the name of who they who referred them, and then you'll get a rebate based on the amount of people that you referred. Here is a QR code as well as a link to some of, the QR code is straight to our join form, and I'm going to share screens with our website so that you can see our little join form, our registration form, but you can also type in this link tree. This is a link that will give you access to a few of our different important links. Our main website's at aysi.org, AYSI.org. And then our main contact is going to be at ac.officers@gmail.com. So if you have any main questions, you can direct them there. But we're going to do kind of a Q&A right now. So I'm going to pull up, we've had someone kind of looking through the chat for main questions. So if you want to ask questions, you can ask them in the chat right now, and then we'll get to them as they come. But we're going to talk about the most asked questions.
Right. And also, if you look on the link tree just now, you should be able to find the actual form where you can just sign up for the program and apply from there. It's on a platform called JotForm, so it makes everything really easy to automate. So it's just a separate link that's on the link tree, and it'll be posted on our website by the end of the day.
Okay, so now, okay.
No, wait, actually, yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So one of the questions that was asked was, is there enough time from October to December to develop a new idea and complete research? And the answer to this is yes. All of science fair competitions for school fairs compete in December for our area, so for around Plano. So you definitely have to get it in by December regardless of where you're at. And so October to December, based on our competition program, we will guide you so that you will be able to finish completing your research by that December deadline.
So, and yeah, another thing to note is you basically just have to get your basic idea done in that time period. And then throughout from January to February to March, as competitions go on, you're going to add to it. We're going to talk to you about that. And then we're going to specifically coach you for those competitions as they come. Another question is, one of the big ones is, will the projects be virtual for this year? Most likely, yes, at least until the next year, which is 2021. 2021 could bring back kind of in-person fairs. We're not totally sure, but there will most likely be virtual fairs this year. And we're going to coach you through the process of competing at those virtual fairs, maximizing your chances despite actually having a physical connection with the judge in front of you. But we're going to help you through that new process. Do you have a list of professors' names for the research program? We can update that with a few of the professors that we have, but definitely we can update that and it'll be on the website soon. Extra lectures for the science fair program. We do have extra lectures for the science fair program, specifically more advanced topics on how to do different things that maximize your chances, whether it be statistical analysis, whether it be how to create a better looking board, or how to improve your chances with a certain specific competition. And then your mentors are going to kind of help you the most throughout that process. Cost per project or student. So John can talk about this. I think it's asking if it's
so the cost is per student. I think Aditya answered that in the chat. So if you're doing a team project, both participants will indeed have to pay the tuition cost. But of course, if you do the referral discount, in theory, you should be able to get always $20 off for one of the students.
And I'm getting a lot of questions. Just like recently, my school does not do science fair. I am in DSD. Our school does not have science fair. So if you don't have science fair, you usually, and I'd say around 90% of the time, 95% of the time, like I know DISD can directly admit themselves to Dallas Regional Science and Engineering Fair. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. We'll walk you through that process of doing that. and then you'll be able to compete. Same thing with the person who said, I don't have a local science fair, or you don't have a school science fair. You probably have a local science fair, and we'll teach you how to find that. You can specifically contact us at ac.officers@gmail.com, and we can get you back with some resources or a specific answer to your question about it. And then you can work through the process of applying directly there. And then from there, the track is basically the same.
Right. And just as a note, a lot of the questions like that can probably be answered by your teacher. If not, we can also help you find a fair that's closest to you.
Yes.
I see two questions that I think I can answer with one response. So the first one is, do you guys have a pool of potential recommended research topics? So in essence, any ideas that you may have, if you just like think about what kind of science you're interested in, you can probably find a category or subcategory on the ISEF webpage. So I think after I answer this question, I'll put a link to that in the chat. You'll basically be able to navigate through the ISEF list of categories. And these are all categories that can be found in virtually every single fair, as well as some subcategories with specifics. And the second part of that question is, do I have a choice to work on team or individual research projects? So that's really up to you. Like we already said, you have to pay individually, but depending on like the kind of idea you have and how much the technical aspects of it and how much time you're going to be putting into it, the answer to that question should gauge if you want to do an individual project or a group project. I've done both group and individual, and it really comes down to, do you want to do a very complicated project that you want to divvy the work up between someone else or maybe a group of other people? If that's the case, then you should probably consider doing a team project. Plus, it's pretty fun doing a team project. But yeah, and also just to reiterate, if you want project categories, visit the ISEF webpage.
Yeah, and
you can go ahead, Lily.
To kind of go over what Noah said about the pool of ideas, we're going to be giving ample amount of resources for finding ideas, developing ideas, honing in on one specific idea that you want to continue on. So that's my answer for that one. And then also, how many meetings are in the research tier? So you'll have access to all the lectures. There's going to be around probably 10 basic lectures in the lecture program, added lectures in the science fair program, and then even more added lectures in the research program. And the research tier will have access to all of those. And then they'll also have 2 1-hour one-on-one mentorship sessions with the undergraduate mentor. Unless you're a team project, when you actually double that, because you're paying for 2 individual costs there. So you'll have a lot of content to work through, and we'll use Simplybook, like John said, to schedule all of that.
And there's one thing that I wanted to note that was off of something that Noah said. It's about what research you want to go into, what topic. There's not a topic that if you did this or the other, you'll do better in this. That's not how science fair works. You definitely want to do something that you're actually interested in, because that's definitely going to help you to progress. It's not whether, you do this category, you'll do better, rather than this category. Do what you're interested in.
Yeah.
So also another person, yeah, and that's a really great point. There are 22 main categories for all science fairs. So it's actually pretty fair, because you're going to be, if you do a plant project, like Rachel does a lot of plant science stuff, you'll be judged against other people doing plant science projects. So it's not a plant science project being judged against a computer science project. There's a lot of diversity in terms of categories. So it's really important that you do what you want to do interest-wise. That way you can maximize your chances in a specific field. One other question I got was, can I expect to receive responses from mentors to all my questions if I choose the science fair or research program? You'll be given an avenue of contact with your mentor. There's no time constraint there. They will answer all your questions, obviously, during the mentorship session. We're also going to have a big forum page for general questions that you might want to ask any of our mentors. That includes science fair program mentors, like all of us, as well as our undergraduates. And then you can also kind of contact your mentor as they go on, because you'll be given kind of contact information, and then you can ask and they'll answer. They will get back to you within a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, and to answer Hollis's question, there shouldn't be any homework other than, of course, you working on your project. Because, at the end of the day, it's your project, and, whatever you want to work on, that's up to you. The mentors are just here to enable you to take that next step. Okay, so mentor sessions are not usually on Zoom. We usually do that in person. But of course, because of COVID and the lockdown, we're unable to do that in person. But what's nice then is we can generalize to not just the Dallas area, but to any place beyond Dallas. So I think there's like a plus side and a negative side to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And there's two different platforms we're using. For Science Fair program, the kind of lower level mentorship program, we're using Discord, and students will hop into different voice channels and talk with their mentors one-on-one. And that's a really good way to kind of get a quick opinion on something. There's going to be 25-minute sessions, and then they'll hop into another one with another mentor. So you'll get two mentors, but it won't be the same mentors throughout. And that's the main benefit of the research program, is you'll have the same mentor as well as access to professors. But that will be on a 1 hour to a month Zoom session. So you get to see their face, you can screen share, you can do all this kind of cool stuff that you wouldn't be able to do at the Science Fair program. But either way, you'll be given contact with your mentors, so you can send them materials and stuff like that. And like in the research program, we'll be doing research review, where you'll send your stuff and then a professor will get back to you, real contact with the professor on what you need to improve, ideas, what specific issues, stuff like that.
Yeah, so like Noah said, the lectures are mostly just going to cover, it'll depend on the tier, of course, but just talking about the lecture program in general, like we covered that earlier in the presentation. If Floy wants to go back, we can show the actual topics that we chose. But it's mostly just like, running you through the entirety of your project, from you choosing your idea at the very start, and all the way to like actually presenting your idea and doing all the refinements. That's really important when you're trying to convince people why your project is the best.
Yeah, one question we got was, will there be homework? It's not kind of like that kind of a program where you'll have specific homework to do. We do expect you to improve upon your project, but that should be something you're doing by yourself, kind of motivating yourself to do that. But we'll be giving you what to do to your project specifically that will help you maximize your chances. It's important that you kind of tune into lectures. All lectures will be recorded and put into our Simply Book software. So if you miss it, for example, due to a school conflict or some kind of other conflict of interest, you will be able to access all the materials after.
Yeah, and speaking of conflicts, say there's like a problem with the scheduling and you realize you can't make your appointment with your mentor, you can always work with Simply Book Me to cancel it, and it'll automate the process from our end. So you'll be able to schedule another meeting whenever you have the time. Let's see.
I didn't know you could screen share on Discord. So no, you are not only restricted to voice call for the Science Fair only program, but there are a little bit of a shorter kind of mentorship slots, around 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So you'll have less time to screen share. The main benefit of upgrading to the research tier is one personalized mentor. You have your backup mentor who is equally as qualified. You have one-on-one hour-long sessions 2 times a month. Specifically, you're just talking to that mentor, so they really get to learn your project and learn you. Those are really good kind of benefits of that program.
Yeah, and just as a note, these mentors, at least probably around 1/5 of them are actually doing this full time this year because they're taking gap years from college. So this is like a job for them, and they're getting paid to do it. So they're really in it to win it for you guys. So that's just something to keep in mind.
I got one. Can you share some success stories? So I can share one. We had a student named Ethan Zhao. He was a part of our program last year, and I specifically worked and mentored him. And we both went to this competition called Texas Junior Science and Humanities Symposium. It's a really difficult state level competition. And he actually placed 3rd in the state, and he went to nationals right after that. And I placed right above him, 2nd. But what's crazy is he had just started Science Fair that year. So he went from a very basic overview of Science Fair to winning and going to a national competition. And I believe I mentored him further after that. He won something at that national level competition that we both went to. So he's a really good example of how you can go from very little experience in Science Fair to really big competitions. That's just
and he was also a senior too. So it was kind of funny. He's a year younger, mentoring Ethan. But yeah, that's a really great success story. And and I guess that's a good a point to mention, like even if you're a senior or a junior starting science for a little later than some other people, you can still succeed and do great, and win a lot of prizes and, you know, boost your resume in a sense. So, you know, it's never too late to start.
Yeah, and I got a question for Science Fair Mentorship. Is it an individual-based program, or participants will be teamed up as group? So the Science Fair Mentorship Program is individual. So you and your teammate will be with one mentor. But the main difference between the two tiers is that that one mentor won't be your one mentor throughout the year, and you're gonna have two mentors per session. You only have 25 minutes with each of them. So you have around the same, a little bit less time spent with mentorship than the research tier. But the main benefit of research tier, and I've said this a lot, but I just kind of want to reiterate it, is it's one mentor, one really qualified mentor that's most similar to your project. So the help kind of really exponentially stacks on top of that. It really helps to have one full-time mentor. The research tier mentor or full-time mentoring.
Yeah. So the full-time mentoring is in the sense that, like I said, about 20% of our mentors are taking gap years. So they are basically doing this full-time, up to like 10 hours a month, which is, you know, pretty big time commitment. So, yeah, a lot of them are just taking gap years and they're doing this as their primary focus, to, you know, as a job.
Yeah.
But also other questions. Oh, go ahead, Eli.
No, you can go ahead. I was just kind of about to ask something like that.
Okay. One of the other questions we got is that you're in 8th grade and which tier should you choose? So we recommend the science fair tier for people who are in junior division or just starting out science fair in early high school. But for those who really want to take it to the next level and get expert advice from our professors and from our internationally recognized mentors, then we really recommend the research tier, as it definitely will just expedite your progress throughout the entire science fair experience.
Yeah. So with the research program, just some mentors are, you know, not to rest ourselves or anything, but they're, you know, leaps and bounds better for the most part than our science fair mentors. That's not to say our science fair mentors are bad, considering, you know, a lot of us are science fair mentors, but it's just that the research program mentors are, you know, some of the best to have ever done it. You know, they've won top 10 at STS. I said best of category. They've won almost like, you know, tens of thousands of dollars. So really impressive group who's here to mentor you guys one-on-one.
Hopefully you can see, does it say welcome to AYSI?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is our website. And under the join, there is, first of all, there's information on how to refer a friend, kind of a few information. And here's our join page. It's not too long of an application. It's pretty short for what it is. Just fill out the information if you're interested. And then there's a small application fee, and then you're basically in. After that, you choose your program and stuff like that. And then come October or come end of September, when registration ends, you'll be matched with your mentor. And then also come October 5th is when our program will officially start with lectures and content and mentorship and stuff like that. But until then, you have a good amount of time to either, one, decrease your cost by referring students to our program, or two, you can choose kind of which program you're interested in. And like Rachel said, there's no age limit to each program. It really depends on how interested you are. The research program is our premier program, and it helps a lot with kind of students really interested in science fair. And our lecture program, on the other hand, is our really small program, and it's for people who just want access to the seminars. No mentorship, no mock fairs, no research review. As each program goes up, their benefits kind of multiply. They exponentially grow. So we recommend that you look at all the options before you sign up. And again, all those options can be found right here on the website under Science Fair Academy. Here's an example of all, here's a kind of more in-depth overview of everything we're doing. And then also, you can meet all the mentors that we've added to our website, and we're actively adding them.
Yeah, so just to answer the question, when is the research program fee due? The application fee would be due, like Govardhan said, on September 14th. That's when we close the actual applications. And decisions will probably be from around September 14th to October 4th, but also it'll be rolling before then. But if you don't get a decision by then it'll be in that September 14th to October 4th period. And that period is also when you'll be able to pay the actual tuition once you get your decision update, whether you've been accepted or rejected from the program. So I guess just tentatively, the deadline for the actual payment, like the tuition itself, it'll be due October 4th at our 11:59 Pacific time in the PM. So
yeah, that's for the actual full cost of our program.
yeah,
But,
so that'll be paid through simplybook.me, and that's really great because it automates everything, and like you can access everything through SimplyBookMe through the tier that you pay for. So that'll just be, we'll send out emails with more details when the time comes, but for now all you need to do is fill out the application as soon as you can. Yeah, so Neil asks a great question. So does everyone get accepted, or is there a chance of rejection? So for now, it'll probably be, you'll most likely get accepted in the sense that like if your application is good and you choose the tier that we feel is best for your like capabilities or your skill level, then yeah, you're gonna get accepted with the mentor that you pick.
Most students, almost all students will get accepted. We don't want to reject anybody, but we do want you to be put in the best program. So if we feel you should be bumped up because the program you chose is like a lower level, we'll recommend that to you, but you don't have to, for example, bump up a tier.
Yeah, so it's your choice, but we'll provide recommendations based on the email. For example, let's say you're like a 6th grader and you're doing the research program, we'll probably recommend you down a tier just for the sake of like the skill level.
Yeah, but it's completely based on your application.
Yeah. And just as a quick note, we really do recommend you guys have at least some sense of what category or idea you want to pick if you're doing either the science fair program, but also especially for the research program, because that's really helpful for our mentors when they review your applications on our platform to be able to pick the students that they want to mentor for the rest of the school year. So that's really important, and we want you guys to do a really good job with that.
You don't really have to have a completely
categories are available on the ISEF website. So, and they have descriptions for each of them. So you can maybe just see, like if you're interested in biology, then there are certain categories that align with that. Or if you're interested in physics, for example. So just go check out that resource, and that'll maybe give you a clearer idea of which category you would like to enter.
And you don't have to have a super specific idea. There's a section that says, if you don't have a project idea, you can either put no, or you can just kind of talk about what your ideas are, what you'd want to do. Any information that helps us match you with the best possible mentor is going to be really helpful.
All right, so if there aren't any more questions, I guess just if you have any last second questions, just feel free to unmute or put it in the chat. I think that about wraps it up for today. So yeah, thank you guys for coming, and it's been a great session.
We'll keep the Zoom meeting itself going on for around 5 minutes, and then we'll end it. So if you want to kind of like unmute yourself and then ask a question, feel free to do so. But thank you so much for everyone who joined. The link is up on the screen. It's aysi.org or aysi.org/register to our form. And remember, you can refer students to get a $20 discount. Yeah, and also we also have a pretty generous financial aid if you do require that. And that's completely anonymous. So just make sure to fill that out on the form if that's something that you'd like to request. So Sarah asks a question. Science fair tier 2 25-minute session is per month. Yep, it'll be 2 25, so 50 minutes per month, like you said. And that'll be like a rotation thing. So you'll get like a different mentor each month for the most part. Although, yeah, it's randomized, so you might get the same mentor more than once, but it'll just be like a randomly it'll be a little bit less personalized than research tier, but we'll still try and kind of match you up with a mentor who feels they have a good fit with you. Yeah, it'll be like people like us who've been to the state level or the international or qualify for the international level. And we're here to just give you a lot of just complete science fair package tips. Like, how am I going to present my idea? How am I going to convince a judge that my project is better than the others in the category? Just general stuff like that. That we've kind of gained over the years while doing science fair. Kind of like inside tips, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and to add on to that, per month for the 2 sessions you get, the information that us mentors for the science fair program will be giving you pertains to the information from the lecture program. So if you're currently on the phase about data analysis, during your meeting, we will be talking about that in more detail, giving you a high level of understanding. So that kind of separates the lecture program from the science fair program. In the lecture program, you'll be learning how do I do data analysis, but in the science fair program, you'll be learning how do I do data analysis, and can someone help me with actually performing it? Can someone show me the equations and see if what I did was correct? So
Yeah,
you want
for sure.
want to see the validity of your, or see the see the content of the lecture program manifest itself, then you should definitely sign up for the science fair program.
Yeah, and to answer Sarah's question, yep, it's the science fair program is basically a continuation of what we did last year in AYSI. It's a little more advanced, of course, but it's generally the same concept. Whereas the research program is kind of like a what's it good? It's like an augmentation of what we did with last year's science fair program. So better mentors and a lot more resources, more competition opportunities. And of course, we have research review plus the accelerator program. And the accelerator program will have more details as they come, but it'll be mostly like you have your idea, you pitch your idea, and we'll award the best pitches and the best ideas as like a grant to kickstart your project, accelerate it in a sense. Yeah, so it'll be kind of like, it'll be not in the science fair sense of presentation, but you'll be pitching your idea nevertheless. And that'll be really great if you want to buy any additional materials. It'll probably be a few $100s that you can use to jumpstart your project. Yeah, and contact info on screen like Galay is typing. And if you have any just really burning questions, just feel free to email that. And we'll also probably put out a report with even more details that we've already created on our website eventually. And I think that wraps it up. So
we'll keep the kind of Zoom kind of going on for 5 minutes, but feel free to leave. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question. Thank you, everybody.
Yep. So I think we can end the recording too.
Yeah, I will do that.
Yeah.